I will show you this November 2012 paper 2 question 4, and then after that you should do all these 3 questions on your own. Okay, so this one, the Berco company is considering the most profitable production plan for the company. The company makes 3 products, A1, A2, and A3, and details are as follows. So the company is making 3 products, and the details is as follows. Okay, fixed cost is just an allocation, but it remains fixed. Okay, direct labor pay direct labor rates are assembly 10 polishing 18 okay, so before reading too much, let's see what's the question one. A, calculate the number of direct labor hours per unit required to make each product. Calculate the number of direct labor hours per unit required to make each product. um, okay, so now let's see whether we will have an idea how to answer this question. So it says here direct labor rates are assembly $10 per hour. So assembly $10 per hour, but here they are A1 is using 90. So they are, here the question say calculate the number of direct labor hours per unit to make each product. So from here, can't I tell that A1 requires 9 hours of direct labor for assembly, and then this one 45 divide by 18, take your calculator. Okay, 45 divide by 18 is 2.5 hours for polishing, and then finishing is $8 per hour, so 20 divide by 8, 20 divide by 8. So from here I already have an idea how to answer part A. So from here I can derive that the number of hours required for assembly, polishing, and finishing. Then I total it, then I will get the number of hours required to make each product. So therefore, this one product A1, A2, A3, number of hours required. So assembly is at $10 per hour. So from there we can able to calculate assembly is it is 9 hours. Okay, if you divide 90 divide by 10, and then polishing is at $18 per hour, so 45 divide by 18 is 2.5, and then finishing is 20 divide by 8 is 2.5. So you total it will be the direct hour per unit required to make A1. So A2's the same way you calculate, and also A3. So then we have settled part A. Okay, now look at part B. Calculate the total number of direct labor hours required for polishing the 3 product. The total number of direct hours required for polishing the the um for polishing the 3 products. So that means we can actually calculate the total number of direct labor hours required for polishing the 3 products. So this one, current production and sales. So that means we will take the polishing hours that we calculated from A. That means we calculated the polishing hours from A. Then this is per polishing hour per unit. Then we times by the production units. Okay, production units, which is 8,000. So that means here will be 2.5 times 8,000, and then that one will be 3 times 10,000, and this one will be 5 times 12,000. Then we put a total column, then we total it. Okay, like this. Okay, so number of polishing hour per unit. So this one total production in units. So total direct polishing hours required. Yeah, then for you, if you have put a total here, then you would have a total easily, but I didn't. So I put here, therefore total polishing hour for 3 product will be 20 plus 30 plus 60 will be 110,000 hours. So part C, okay, now look at part C. Prepare a marginal cost statement to calculate the current production and profit level, to calculate the current production and profit level. Okay, previously in the previous lessons I have explained to you what is marginal. what is marginal costing profit and loss account. Okay, so now, okay, so I put here marginal cost statement for current production. So A1, A2, A3, and then I put a total column. Since the number are large, so the here dollar sign thousands, thousand, so I don't need to write so many zeros. Okay, so this one marginal cost statements, that means we will less variable cost first, then we will come to contribution, then we will less fixed cost, then we will come to net profit. So what you can do for me is you put your revenue less variable cost. Please, I mean you use the whole piece of paper, because here I try to squeeze it out easier for me to explain to you. But when you do on your own, you use the whole piece of blank paper. Revenue less variable cost. Then you leave plenty of space. Then you put total. Then you draw a line. Then you put total variable cost. Then after that you leave a few lines. Then you put contribution. Then you less fixed cost. You leave a few lines. Then you put net profit. Okay. So revenue. Would it be easy to calculate revenue? So the question have told us current production and sales in units. A1 is 8,000, A2 is 10,000, A3 is 12,000. So how to calculate revenue? What is the selling price? The selling price is also given in the question. The selling price is 350, is 360 and 400. So revenue, it will be easy to calculate. Just take 350 times 8, because it's in thousands, so you cut off all the zero here. So you take 350 times 8 will be 2008. Okay, so my revenue will be 2008. So A2, same thing, will be 360 times 10, that will be 3006. And A3, then you will total up, then you put in the total column. Okay, then direct cost. Okay, direct cost. Okay, direct cost will be, okay, you have variable, you have direct, you have direct labor. So for those who want to do it step by step, you can put direct material, then direct labor, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I just put a total direct cost figure here. Okay, uh, okay, then I have variable overheads. So that means, you see, you take your calculator. What are all the direct costs? Direct cost means direct material and direct labor. So you take your calculator, you take 50 plus 90. Okay, 50 plus 90 plus 45 plus 20. So this is your direct cost for A1 plus 20. So the direct cost per unit of A1 is $205. Okay, so how many production units for A1? 8,000. So I times 8. So will be 1,640,000. It's all in thousands, right? So that's how I get my direct cost, 1,640. So variable overheads for A1, variable overheads will be 60 times, because it's in thousand, right? So times 8 will be 480. So you see, it's not difficult, right? Okay, you just take 60 times 8, because it's in thousands, so I just times 8, then I get 480. So 280, so the total variable cost will be 1,640 plus 480. So A2 and A3, you get it from with the same method. So with revenue minus variable cost, you will get contribution, less fixed cost. Okay, fixed cost, the what is the, you see, the fixed cost per unit of A1 is 40. Okay, 40. So the production is 8,000. Okay, so that means 40 times 8, so will be 320. So this is the fixed cost, 320. Okay, then you total up, then you get the total column. So then you get that profit. So I have done the marginal cost statement for the current production. Okay, then part D says calculate the most appropriate mix of production to achieve the maximum profit. Okay, calculate the most appropriate mix of production to achieve the maximum profit. Okay, here, okay, the direct labor pay is as follows. Then labor for polishing is in short supply and cannot be increased in the short term. Okay, this one, direct labor for polishing is in short supply and cannot be increased in the short term. So that means that is, for example, saying that you have a quota for foreign labor, foreign workers, and this polishing hour is a very skill that require high skill, the job, and we can't do because it we need skilled foreign workers at a cheap rate. So the thing is this is a scarce resource. Okay, labor for polishing hours polishing is in short supply and cannot be increased in the short term. So now part D, calculate the most appropriate mix of production to achieve the maximum profit. So is it based on the current production and sales? Okay, so that means over here, based on the current production and sales, okay, our total polishing hours is 110. So the question is saying that the polishing hour cannot cannot be more than 110,000 hours, because you see the question D says calculate the most so the question says, in the question it says labor for polishing is in short supply and cannot be increased in the short term. So it cannot be increased beyond the current level, beyond what is available now. Okay, so the maximum polishing hours is 110. So 110,000 hours. This is our scarce resources. So how to maximize production so as to achieve the maximum profit given this scarce resource? Okay, so the thing is, okay, you see you will have fixed cost 40, 40, 40. Okay, what is this fixed cost all about? 40 per unit. Okay, so now we have done the marginal cost statement. Okay, fixed cost is actually an allocation to the individual product based on units. Okay, but the total fixed cost is actually 1,002. 1,002. No, actually 1.2 million. If you add in the figures here, so 1.2 million the fixed cost for the whole company is 1.2 million. Then some people say, then how come $40 per unit? It's something like 10 of you go and rent an apartment. Okay, or maybe make it easy. 12-person go and rent an apartment. Okay, the apartment, okay, is $12,000. Okay, 12-person go and rent an apartment. The apartment costs $12,000. So that means the allocation of this apartment fixed cost to one person is actually one person 1,000. Yeah, so that's why this is what you call allocation of fixed cost to the individual product. So that means the fixed cost is actually fixed. Let's say there are 13 people, or let's say if there are 24 people coming to share the apartment. So the fixed cost, the apartment fixed cost rental, the rental is a fixed cost. So we are saying that the rental of this apartment is a fixed cost. So if there are 24-person come and share the apartment, so the fixed cost per person will be, instead of 1,000, will be $500, right? So and if there are more person, if there are 48 people sharing this $12,000 apartment, so then the fixed cost per person will be 250. 250 per person. So the thing is, the fixed cost for the whole company will be fixed, but it will be divided according to the units that we are producing. In this case, we can see that they are dividing to all the units of a product equally, right? So the fixed cost for the company is actually fixed. But if there are more production, then it's like more man, less share. So if there are more production units, then the fixed cost will be divided, will be spread over to more units, and the fixed cost per unit will become less. So so now they are saying that calculate the most appropriate mix of production, given that labor for polishing is is only 110,000 hours and cannot be increased, right? So labor for polishing is a scarce resource. So given the most appropriate production mix, so fixed cost is irrelevant, because whether we produce less, we don't produce, or we produce more, the fixed cost for the whole company is still 1.2 million. It cannot be increased, it won't decrease also. So fixed cost, we just ignore it. So then we will calculate which product is so-called most profitable without taking into consideration of fixed cost. That means we will take for each product, we will calculate the contribution for each product. Okay, now look at here. So contribution per unit for A1, A2, and A3 is as follows. Okay, how do I get all these figures over here? So so this one is the contribution for for 8,000 units. So I can just divide 680 divide by 8. So will be 85. See, I can get the contribution per hour, per unit, contribution per unit easily. So for A2, the total production is 10,000 units. So you, because this is in because this is in thousand, so this one I this one should be also in thousand, so will be 10. So I take 1010 divide by 10,000, 10, so will be 101. So this is my contribution per unit for A2. Similarly, this one will be A3 will be 1,002 divide by 12 is 100 per unit, $100 per unit. The contribution per unit is $100. Okay, you see the polishing hours is a scarce resource. So even though like A2 produced the highest contribution, but we must also take into consideration how much polishing hours for this each of these product requires. So A1 requires 2.5 polishing hours, A2 3, and A3 5. So you see, we would find a contribution per unit of constraint. Our constraint is polishing hours. Okay, so 85, the contribution is 85 for A1, but it uses 2.5 polishing hour. So contribution per unit of per hour of polishing, okay, per unit of constraint. So contribution per polishing hour for A1 is 34, and A2 is 33.67, and A3 is 20. So you see, even though like A3, it produced quite a good contribution, but it's using a lot of our polishing hours. You see, this is polishing hours is a scarce resource. We cannot get more. So we are going to make the best use of this available polishing hour. So so the so now from what we calculated here, A1 is producing the highest contribution per polishing hour used, right? So that means we will produce the maximum possible A1, okay, in order to best maximize the profit with these available scarce resources, which is the polishing hour. Okay, now you look at the question. You see, forecast maximum possible sales. So the maximum of A1 we should produce is only 10,000, because if you produce more, you cannot sell. So why should you produce more than 10,000 of A1? So we will produce up to the maximum possible sales for A1. So we times 10,000. Then next, this one also we will produce up to the maximum possible sales, that is 12,000. Okay. Is it then how are we going to get this figure? We don't know yet. We leave it blank first. We put here bracket balancing figure. That means the balance we will produce to A3. Then polishing hours needed. Okay, we know that the total polishing hours is 110,000. Okay, so based on 10,000 units of A1, how many polishing hour is required? So 10,000 times 2.5 will be polishing hour needed will be 25,000. Then this one 12,000 times 3 number of polishing hour per unit will be 36,000. So the balance, so I put your bracket balance, will be 110 minus 36,000 minus 25,000 will be 49,000 of polishing hour you will allocate to product A3. So 49,000 of polishing hours will translate to 49,000 divide by 5. 49,000 divide by 5 is 9,008. So that means we will produce 9,008 unit of A3, product A3. So total contribution based on maximum units to be produced. Okay, so what is the total contribution for this? This is contribution per unit of polishing hour, okay, times the polishing hour needed. So 34 times 85 will be how much? 34 times 80, no, it will be 34 times 25,000 is 850,000. Yeah, this is contribution per polishing hour, and this is the polishing hour used. So the total contribution for A1 will be 34 times 25,000 will be 850,000. So this one will be 33.67 times 36,000 will be equals to 1212. Okay, you take again. 33.67 times polishing hour will be 36,000 will be equals to 120. Okay. Okay, 101 divided by 3 is 33 times 36,000 is, okay, 2. Okay, that is because I take 101 divided by 3. 101 divided by 3 is actually 33.666666. Then I times 36,000. Then I get 121,999,999.99. So I round it up, I will get 1212000. So this is a rounded up figure. Rounded up figure. So then this one you take 20 times 49,000. 20 times 49,000, you get 980,000. Yeah, then you total up this one. Okay, so this is our so that means I have to answer the question, because the question says calculate the most appropriate mix of production to achieve the maximum profit. So to clearly answer the question, I said that therefore the most appropriate mix of production to achieve a maximum contribution of this amount is product A1 10,000, A2 12,000, and A3, this is in units, 9,008. So I've clearly answered the question. Okay, then part E says, what problem may arise from selecting the most economic mix of production? So what problem will arise? You see, this one, A1, you are going to produce up to the maximum possible sales. A2, you are going to produce up to the maximum possible sales. And A3, you are only producing 9,800 units, which is quite far away from the maximum possible sales. So what problem that I can think may arise is that for A1 and A2, we are producing up to the maximum possible sales, and therefore customer may not find the urgency to buy the product as they know that there will be, the product will be always available. You see, people is like that. What? when everybody want to buy the product, and the product always go out of stock one. I mean, then they will feel that, oh, the product is very precious. Better go and buy first, otherwise finish already. But if the product is always there one, then no urgency. Aya, never mind. You anytime go and buy also will have plenty there. So I don't care first. So but product A3, if it's a too short supplier, you see the possible sales, maximum possible sales is 13,000. You only produce 9,008. So, but every time you go there, the product is out of stock because is producing too little for the possible demand from customer. Then the customer will get frustrated. You say every time this one out of stock on, every time I go there also don't have. So now I try other brands, try other brands. Then try other brands. Actually, that brand not bad. Then they will stick to that brand. So the customer loyalty will change, right? So that means we must strike a balance, something like this, strike a balance. You produce just slightly below the maximum possible sales for all the three products, then this will be like good service to customer. So that means now going back to the question, what problem may arise from selecting the most economic product mix? So the problem that will arise from selecting the most economic product mix is the company, or you can say Berco, will produce up to the maximum possible sales for product A1 and A2. As such, customer won't find the urgency to buy the product A1 and A2, and 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 the product over time will get less appealing to customer. And if the maximum possible sales is not achieved, um, there will be there will be excessive production, and that would go to waste, right? But for product A3, as the production is way below the maximum possible sales, that would be bad customer service, as the product would be constantly out of stock, and customer will get frustrated. As such, customer could I mean, a huge portion of the customer could transfer their loyalty to another brand. So this is how I answer the question. So you can answer the question in your own understanding. So if there's other valid point that you can think of, you can put in the question. Question like this is nothing is right or wrong, but if your reason is logical and valid, it should be acceptable. Yeah. So this is the reason that I can think of. You could be very creative. You can think of some very good reason that answer this question. So I've told you how to answer this question. If you want to copy down, for now you can copy down, but don't end up become a copycat. That is because if you just rely on copying this kind of model answer, then you may lack the ability to answer on your own. So meanwhile, you can copy down, but you always try to answer according to your own understanding. Okay. Have you finished copying? You can pause the video to copy. Okay. Uh, thank you.